Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking a little bit more about Mortal Kombat 1 and just the story elements of it. I recently did a trailer breakdown discussing if Onaga would return in the game, and I do think that it is likely. And from what I understand, one of the grains of sand in one of the previous teasers actually did have a dragon's eye in it. So today I'm joined by my handsome guest, Lucrative. Go ahead and say hey.
What's up, guys?
So today we're going to be talking a little bit about Onaga and his return within Mortal Kombat 1. Me and him are both big fans of Onaga and Shujinko and the Deception Conquest mode, so we would love to see something like that return, and we were discussing it a bit, and the more that we actually talk about it, I feel like it does make sense to see something like that return. But what do you think about Shujinko returning? Do you think that it's likely if Onaga returns, or if we see no Onaga return, do you think Shujinko is even going to be mentioned in this game?
I don't really think we get one without the other. I don't really have my hopes up too high for Onaga returning, but I don't think we see Onaga return without Shujinko as another playable character, because I don't see how you tell Onaga's story without Shujinko.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Definitely. I do agree with that prospect, and I think that the main aspect of that is because Onaga obviously I think he was the best Mortal Kombat villain we've ever gotten. That's just my, take on that. And I mean,
he won.
Well, exactly, right? He just, deceived Shujinko, collected all of the Kamidogu, and all of the pieces of the One Being, and that's something that is a feat that I feel that, not many Mortal Kombat characters can say. I think, especially now in newer Mortal Kombat games, which I'm not like a massive lore head. I don't think either of us are. We're kind of just casual on it. But we get to see often like characters like Shang Tsung or Shao Kahn or these characters not end up being huge big bads that actually are a huge detriment to the world of Mortal Kombat. And I think Onaga is actually the perfect example of that, especially in Deception, where he basically was, he fucking ruined everything. And I think that's something that people sometimes maybe forget. Anyway, with that said, Liu Kang did create an entire new timeline in this game, right? And I think that Shang Tsung being killed in the trailer and Shang Tsung being the pre-order bonus all but confirms that he is not going to be the final big bad. So let's say in this hypothetical that Onaga is the main villain of this game. Since it is a new timeline, they do not have to stay true to his original story. Obviously, I would love that if he is the Dragon King still, he's still like a ruthless leader with an army of undead soldiers and stuff like that. But what is your take on that? What do you think that they could do? And if they do bring Onaga back in this game, how do you think they should go about it to actually make him a memorable and good villain, kind of the opposite of like Kronika or Cetrion? You know what I mean?
So I feel a lot of people complain about the fact that this game is Mortal Kombat 1, 2, or Mortal Kombat 12, and people complain about the chronological order of them. So I feel like if you just bring Onaga in without his past story, although it is a new timeline, that's definitely something they could do. It might just anger some people, although a lot of people haven't played Deception or even know who Onaga is. I think that it would make a big impact if they brought him back without nothing, and he was just a completely new character and never even mentioned the old stuff. But I could definitely see him being a brand new, it's him obviously, and it's still Onaga, but it's not the Onaga we know.
Yeah, and I think that if anything, that's the best way to go about it. And that's why I think that this is such a meta move on NetherRealm's part, completely wiping the timeline, because this is going to get so many new players into this game. And they don't have to see anything about the old timeline. Yeah, continue.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was super happy with the decision to make Mortal Kombat 1, 2, if that's what they want to call it or whatever. That's what I've seen a lot of people call it, and I think that's a cool name, because it's still Mortal Kombat 12, but it's Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and I think the trailer was amazing, and I have extremely high hopes for this game and wherever they go from there.
Yeah, I would 100% agree, and I do think that this reboot, and we've seen soft reboots of the Mortal Kombat story. If anything, I feel like they were kind of half-baked reboots, where we'd seen Mortal Kombat 11 have to do with the timeline, or Mortal Kombat 9 going into Mortal Kombat X have a huge time skip, and those never felt genuine. Those never felt really good, even though I enjoy all three of those games. I think that the time skip of 9 to X, trying to soft reboot the series and make it a completely new vibe and stuff like that, and then the same thing with Mortal Kombat 11, where we go back in time again and see Raiden turn on Liu Kang, that whole timeline or that whole piece, explored again from Mortal Kombat 9. I do think that they have done reboots that could be successful and did have some success to them, and also brought a lot of new players into it. But this is the perfect way to do it. This is like a clean slate, right? And I think Mortal Kombat 9 is the perfect example of a modern Mortal Kombat that was a revival of the series. Mortal Kombat 9, for one, didn't even have Mortal Kombat 9 in the title. It was just called Mortal Kombat because it was a huge reboot. And it retold the entire story, and we went back to the first tournament that we got to see actual Earthrealm fighters fight for their survival and to not merge the realms. Because obviously there has been several Mortal Kombat tournaments that took place before this tournament that's actually on screen. But I think that them retelling the story, we get to see Raiden, Liu Kang, Kung Lao, Kitana, all of the characters and their original stories retold through Mortal Kombat 9. And that was all very good. But I think that this is even better because not only do we get to see a reboot, so these characters can be completely new and retold in whatever way they want to be, but if anything, it actually feels like these characters are going to be new. Like they don't have to follow a pre-established notion, so old fans don't have to, new fans don't have to worry about consuming the lore. For example, one thing in the trailer, I don't know if you noticed, but Scorpion actually has a Lin Kuei badge on his chest. Yes, so like that's insane, right? Like there could be no rivalry here, and if anything, that doesn't even have to be Kuai Liang as Sub-Zero. That could actually be Bihan. And Bihan and Scorpion are actually just Lin Kuei brethren. Like how crazy, like what is your take on the whole new timeline? Do you think that it's good that we can see completely new takes on these characters? And if so, what do you think you want to see or don't want to see?
So, I mean, like I thought that Fire God Liu Kang was really good, and I thought the ending of Mortal Kombat 11 was great. So I love that they brought him over. And I mean, it ended with him going to who we assume is Kung Lao.
Yeah, the great Kung Lao, yeah.
Yeah, and we get to see like this entire great Kung Lao story. Like we don't know this Kung Lao, and like that's exciting for like all these characters. We don't know these characters. We know who they are, but we don't know if this is the same Kitana or the same Scorpion or Sub-Zero, or if it's someone completely new. And I think that is just really exciting to like see, especially like with the day and age we are of gaming. Like it's gonna be outstanding, man. Like the trailer looked great, and I don't expect the game to look much different than that. So.
Yeah, I feel like some people are on some like weird copium where they're saying that like, oh, the trailer looks outstanding, but the game is probably gonna look a lot different. Like, brother, did you see Mortal Kombat 11 cinematic versus Mortal Kombat 11's gameplay? Like, they were identical. So like,
even Mortal Kombat X.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat X too, and Mortal Kombat X even.
Gameplay, like, it was a really good like transfer over.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree, and I think Mortal Kombat X is even like a bad example almost because the cinematic looked great and the game looked great, but that was even like worse graphics than Mortal Kombat 11, for example. Like that engine was Unreal Engine 3, so like keep that in mind. You know what I mean? Like that's not even modern at all, and this game's not even going to be on previous consoles. So I think they're on Unreal 5. That's what I'd assume, is that they're on Unreal 5. So, and NetherRealm has always been the top dog of graphics. Whether you enjoy the gameplay of Mortal Kombat games or not, you can't deny that they've always been the best looking fighting game in the industry, if not one of the best looking games in the industry, period. So I do think that them doing that within this game is going to be perfect. I don't think the game has to look as good as the cinematic, but I'm not going to say it's not going to. If anything, I feel like it's more likely that it's going to be more towards that than against it. But yes, on the topic of you saying the new characters and reboots and stuff like that, I do think that you are right, and I think that them showing characters that we've heard of, like the Great Kung Lao in the first Mortal Kombat tournament, and a young Raiden, and like all of these characters that we've heard about or we've seen very little of, it's going to be perfect to see them explored on screen. Because that's the main thing here, is that they can explore so many things that have been told through the lore, or through tower endings, or through crypt stuff, or anything that's not the actual main cinematic storyline, and can finally dive deep into these characters. And I do like what you said about it being a new Kitana and new Mileena, because in the trailer, Kitana and Mileena are actually together in a chariot in Edenia, and they're normally enemies. You know what I mean? Like Mileena was created by Shao Kahn to be a clone of Kitana, so they obviously hated each other, and that might not be the case in this game. They could actually just fight alongside each other as sisters in Edenia, and who knows, Kitana could even like be a big ruler in Outworld or anything like that.
On top of that is that we finally get to see Raiden not Raiden. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Like we get to see somebody else that is like the one that they all look up to. He like the new protector of Earthrealm. I don't know if Liu Kang is officially that, but
I would
or Fire
probably
God.
lay money on it, right?
Yeah, and so like I think that's super exciting is we get to see like a somebody else that has to control the herd and fight against whoever the big bad is instead of Raiden, who like always handles everything. Like with Liu Kang under his wing, now we get to see like Liu Kang do his own thing.
I 100% agree with that. And I don't know if you even noticed, a lot of people didn't notice, but Raiden is in the trailer.
Yeah,
Raiden, yeah,
like
Raiden
the
is,
human Raiden.
yeah, human Raiden, right?
Yeah,
And
and like
so,
that's like Woody Raiden, man,
yeah,
and
like
like
Woody
I
Raiden,
can't
yeah.
wait
It's
that.
so funny he doesn't look like Woody anymore.
Yeah, like, I can't wait
Yeah.
for that, dude.
I do think it's so interesting to think that if anything, Raiden's going to be under Liu Kang's wing now,
Yeah,
and even if he isn't, even if Raiden is actually still, a very wise man, it's going to be interesting to see him not take how do you
like
say that?
the him going to speak to the elders
Yeah, like
to
that's not going
figure
to
out
happen.
what he's gonna do. Like that's not a thing
That's not
anymore,
a thing anymore. And
Yeah,
Liu Kang might be an elder god. I'm not sure how he probably is. But one thing I do think is very interesting to note from the trailer is that we don't get to see Liu Kang use electricity. We do see him use um electricity. What the fuck? Lightning is probably a better word. But anyway, we get to see him use fire, but it is orange and blue. So he does still have the essence of Liu Kang and also Raiden, even in this new
yeah,
timeline. But one
yeah. I'm
thing
sure this is the like exact fire god Liu Kang that had just beat Kronika,
Yeah, I would definitely say
and
so too. I do think that he probably might have changed something about himself. I wouldn't doubt it. Liu Kang does seem like the type of person who's like a pacifist or somebody who would love to see like him be on their same level to a degree. So like Liu Kang might have like actually just erased his memories of the past. Like who knows? You know what I mean? Like I don't
yeah,
know.
like
Uh,
even if he built this whole world, like he might have been the one that made it to where Katana and Melina get along, or Scorpion and Sub Zero are. I mean, like in the trailer, it says brothers. Like when it zooms in on them. If correct, like correct me if I'm wrong.
no, you're right. You're right. The whole
Yeah,
trailer, Liu Kang is kind of giving everyone an ultimatum of good or
yeah,
evil. He's always saying you could fight alongside as brothers or be enemies. You can live in prosperity or in bloody strife, and like that. That is
exactly.
the perfect. Again, it's Liu Kang wanting peace, but not really controlling. I don't think Liu Kang seems
Like I
like the
feel
type
like
of
that is what like Mortal Kombat is. You
right.
know,
Yeah.
like do you want to fight or do you want to fight with this guy or fight against this guy? Like this guy who's on the same level as you, like. Like these are all like who knows, they're all different, but they're all Mortal Kombat characters.
Yeah. No, I,
And
I
like
I
it's
agree.
like we get to see whether they're gonna work together or fight against each other and whatever the actual story they end up developing for the game is.
Yeah, and I do think that this is the healthiest the series has been in terms of what it can do with the story because of its new timeline and the new characters. They don't have to go through this, oh, realm merging subplot, or they don't have to go through, oh, the realms are in a war because Shao Kahn wants to fucking, be a bitch again or whatever the fuck. They don't have to do any of that.
Yeah,
And
I
I
was
think that's
actually
great.
I was gonna say like I feel like when I was playing Mortal Kombat 9 or X or 11, like those games could have all been like a one-off, like and the story could have not continued.
True, true.
I feel like 11 like entirely you play the entire story for that game in that game. Like obviously there's like the cliffhangers at the end or whatever, but like they could have ended that there and Mortal Kombat 12 could have just been something brand new.
No, I, I
And
agree. I think that they've been
same thing
afraid
with
to do
Mortal
that.
Kombat X. Like you could play Mortal Kombat 11 without playing Mortal Kombat X, and same thing with it's gonna be the same with Mortal Kombat 12 and Mortal Kombat 11, but I feel like they did it a lot better this time around
No, you're
than
you are right. You are
in
right.
previous ways.
Yeah, because somebody still like even though you're right about there's probably so many people who've only played Mortal Kombat 11, which
Yeah,
God rest their souls because I feel like it's the worst out of the recent three games. The story, which is what you're referring to, I'm assuming, is definitely a clean slate for a lot of people to just enjoy. But
oh
but
yeah.
but you are right about it.
Like I don't think you need to go play 11 to play 12, and but I think that they did it right this time. Like I was not the biggest fan of the fact that you didn't have to play X to really understand 11.
Oh, you
Like
weren't
I
a
was
fan of it.
not, yeah, I was not the biggest fan. I feel like they could have done it better, but I feel like this time they're doing it the right way, and that it's going to lead to where these next games could just build off of 12. or if they want to keep doing what they've been doing. Like they have a lot cleaner slate to do it with now than what they were working with before.
No, I actually I do agree with you on that, and I think that you're right because you're kind of like it's kind of like they didn't go the full mile. Like they walked halfway with Mortal Kombat 11 by making it a clean slate, but they were like, yeah, but not entirely. We're not gonna actually just
Yeah.
reboot. It still continued on from like the Evil Raiden Shinnok stuff from Mortal Kombat X,
Yeah, I was
but ended
even
immediately.
11, like in 11 they mentioned that in 9 it's the same exact story. You know, like there's an exact flashback of what happens in 9. Like correct me if I'm wrong. I beat 11 like it's been a while, you know. But like it's the same thing, and I think that with 12 that's not what I expect at all. Entirely new, and that is like really exciting as a Mortal Kombat fan.
True, true. Like something fresh and something new is if anything, that's exactly what we need as Mortal Kombat fans. I feel like 9X and 11. I think X is kind of the what do you call that? Like the dark sheep or the dark horse in the situation where
Yeah.
X was a lot different than the other three or the other two.
Oh, it was
But
completely.
yeah,
You
like
know,
the,
like
like
it
the
was.
vibe was extremely dark and
Ooh,
gritty. The gameplay
yeah.
was fast paced. It was completely different. But I do think the story aspect of it, the NetherRealm story mode, was the same. And I do think that Mortal Kombat 11 not really going in the full direction of the Evil Raiden Shinnok stuff and continuing on. And like you said, it calls back to Mortal Kombat 9, which was interesting because it was only 2 games ago. And then Mortal Kombat
Yeah.
11 does the whole retelling of Raiden having the issue with Liu Kang about Raiden becoming Dark Raiden and Liu Kang standing up for what is right. I do think that was probably the highlight of Mortal Kombat 11 though. I think that
Oh,
that story
easily.
was
Like
peak.
the
Yeah.
oh yeah. Like I definitely think the best part of that story is when the evil Raiden stuff starts and like Liu Kang is fighting for it and all the flashbacks and stuff happen. Like and they talk about how this is what happens in every single universe, like over and over.
Yeah, I
and
do
over
love
again.
that. I do
And then they
absolutely love that.
finally like put a stop to it by taking away what made Raiden eventually turn evil in all of these universes. And like I just think it's so exciting that we are getting a completely like fresh slate. Like I don't think anyone really expected that to come out of the Mortal Kombat 12 trailer. I wouldn't have wanted anything else.
Yeah, like now that we got this huge reset, like we could have all assumed, and I think most people did assume, that obviously Liu Kang was going to create his own new timeline. But for all we know, it could have just dropped us back in the first Mortal Kombat tournament in Mortal Kombat 9 again, and we would have probably been okay with it. But this is the better way to do it.
That's what we're used to.
Yeah, exactly. We're used to retelling the same thing.
The next game being a restart and it's just the same story told and finished in the exact same game and not really building off of the past one. Like much as if I feel like this one does. This is the fire like it I feel like it picks up exactly where 11 stopped. If you like pick the ending where Liu Kang won, because obviously there's the Shang Tsung ending as well.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right on that. It's not like it's tied down by anything.
Like, yeah, like he goes and sees Great Kung Lao, and that's kind of exactly where the 12 trailer picks up.
Yeah, no, I do agree.
Yeah, and I think it was really cool that they did exactly that. You know.
Yeah, and I think that what's interesting about that is with Mortal Kombat 9, obviously at the end of Mortal Kombat 9 where Raiden ends up, you know, kind of succumbing to the evil and ends up killing Liu Kang, being very irrational. And then there's that huge, like, how many years, 50-year time skip or whatever from Mortal Kombat 9 to X. So. That was the biggest, like, continuation of story that we've seen in any modern Mortal Kombat game. Was the continuation of, like, 9 to X. But X to 11 was definitely not as conjoined. And the thing about Mortal Kombat 11 to Mortal Kombat 1 and Mortal Kombat 12, I think it's a mix of both. And that is because Ed Boon actually in the live stream yesterday, there was a short live stream that happened yesterday. I wouldn't blame you if you missed it, it was really short. But Ed Boon basically said, Mortal Kombat 1 is not a continuation of Mortal Kombat 11. But it is. So that's the thing. So like you're saying, it picks up right when Liu Kang goes and chooses the Great Kung Lao as his champion. But
we're not going to have to replay any of that.
Exactly, because this is a new timeline.
And it's done.
Yeah.
Like the book is closed.
He created this new world for us to start the story from the first page, and that's perfect. So even though like he's right and wrong, because it isn't a continuation of Mortal Kombat 11 at all, because Mortal Kombat 11 has nothing else to do. It ended.
But it ties into it.
You know? Oh yeah, exactly. That's like what I was saying. That's why it's both, because Mortal Kombat 1 is a completely new world, a completely new timeline. It has no strings attached, except for maybe Fire God Liu Kang. And then Mortal Kombat 11 ended without any strings needing to be attached because Liu Kang is the ruler of time now, and he creates a completely new timeline. So I think that this is the best thing that they could have done for the story and the health of the story, because I definitely think Mortal Kombat fans are getting timeline fatigue and like fatigued
Oh
from all of that.
yeah, definitely. You know, like as a Mortal Kombat fan, like I wasn't the biggest fan of Mortal Kombat X. You know, I liked 11 a lot more, just because I felt like it could have just been more. You know, like the like you said, like the NetherRealm story for X wasn't all there. You know, it felt like the other parts of the game were definitely the highlight and not the story mode for that one.
Wait, for X or for 11? You're talking about X, right?
For X.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. I do think I think X tried the most new things because X had like its
Well, yeah,
dark,
it
gritty
introduced
vibe.
like all those new characters too.
That too, I think it was the introduction of NetherRealm doing this thing where they had like I don't know, Ferritor. They brought Tremor into the game, stuff like that. Like that's completely new, and also the atmosphere felt much more in tune to like Armageddon and Deception, opposed to like 9 and 11. X was like its own thing, and I think that 11 played it safe in the aspect of giving us a story that was very bare bones and kind of in a way, and the timeline was very similar to Mortal Kombat 9, where it was very easily accessible and it wasn't too dark or it wasn't too convoluted or confusing. One thing that I do think is interesting that I feel I almost forgot until I recorded my video yesterday is that Mortal Kombat Aftermath retells the story of Mortal Kombat 11 again. Like you just play the
Yeah.
same events again, and I completely forgot that that's a thing. And that just kind of shows you that I'm not saying I hated Mortal Kombat 11's story or anything, but I do think that if in the same game you're retelling the same timeline again, it is just kind of like odd, right? And that's why I think that this being a complete opposite of that, like this is basically the anti-modern Mortal Kombat game in terms of story.
Yeah, like I definitely think Aftermath was you know, not exactly what it should have been, you know, with just replaying the whole story. And I know that there was differences and all that stuff. Like it was the aftermath of the story you had just beat. But I do think it could have been done better than just replaying the 11 story and then things were different here and there. And obviously it had its climax, but I just think there was a better way to build up to it.
Yeah, I do think that when people talk about Aftermath more recently, and I think that we don't have recency bias anymore, Mortal Kombat 11 isn't like that brand new shiny toy anymore for us.
Yeah.
So the fact that people look at it in hindsight, I think it was very easy back then to see the Aftermath finale and think that, wow, Mortal
Oh
Kombat
yeah,
11 is
yeah,
just
yeah.
so fucking good. Like this is actually just like God's work. But it really isn't that anymore. And I think us, especially us seeing Mortal Kombat 1 and this new rebooted, peaceful, like serene timeline, I'm starting to look back at these older games and be like, damn, like they were kind of on that shit for a long time, and I'm really happy that we're
Mhm.
not doing that no more. And
Yeah, that it's not just the same story of Raiden is him. And
yeah,
he's just trying to prepare Earthrealm for whatever's coming, you know.
yeah, and I really hope that this game doesn't follow any of the falsehoods that the old Mortal Kombat games did, in terms of trying to be repetitive with the story, in terms of trying to be too like how should I say? I think that they sometimes are playing it too safe. And I think Mortal Kombat 11 is the perfect example, excuse me, of playing it too safe. I think that Mortal Kombat X is like the anti one of that. Like it wasn't doing too safe. It was doing its own thing and it was taking some risks. Whether that really worked for it or not, I think that people look on Mortal Kombat X fondly nowadays, a lot more fondly than Mortal Kombat 11, I would say. But I do think one important detail here is a big thing that has been huge in Mortal Kombat, even in the old timeline, before it was rebooted in Mortal Kombat 9, is evil Raiden. And we've seen the trope of the Earthrealm Protector becoming evil over and over and over. And so I am very curious, and I want to get your take on this because I feel like you could definitely come up with a lot of theories on this. But would you absolutely hate or enjoy if Liu Kang were to become evil and become the main villain of this game?
So I think it'd be cool, you know, like I'm a big fan of turn the good guy evil and see what he can do, but I just don't think that's the direction they ever plan on going in with Liu Kang.
I would
Like, or
agree.
at least with Fire God Liu Kang. I know we had Revenant Liu Kang, but that's dead Liu Kang, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that is not Liu Kang. And I think that is just like, that's going to be something that they keep with him, that he is the good guy. Like, he is a good guy above all. And so I don't think he'll ever turn evil, but that's not something that would ever make me angry if that's like the direction they went.
Yeah, I think that if NetherRealm wanted to go in that direction, I would understand why they did it, because it's very tropey, and if anything, it follows the past of Mortal Kombat. But I think now that they have this tool on their hands, like Mortal Kombat 1 is their greatest asset. This is their greatest weapon that they can do anything with.
Build whatever they want from here.
Yeah, like literally, it's hard. I'd imagine it's a world where it's hard for them to fuck this up, because there's nothing holding them back. And so that's why I would kind of dislike
no strings attached to this.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people were dissatisfied with Mortal Kombat 11, but they loved the ending of a Fire God Liu Kang becoming the new Earth Realm Protector, and then also the fact that it leaves an opening for anything to happen. And so I think that with this game, I would dislike a bit if Liu Kang were to become evil, especially because I don't think Liu Kang should be held to the same degree as Raiden. I think Raiden was corrupted by darkness because of the
It was like the Eye of Shinnok or something. Wasn't it?
Yeah, on the, what the fuck is it called? I literally forget. It's not called an amulet, is it? The thing that he has on his belt.
I think he does call it an amulet.
Does
but
he?
I don't know the official name for it, because
Okay.
I think it does have one.
Right. So again, we're not like huge, like we're into the lore of Mortal Kombat. We don't know everything, right? I just want to make that clear so we don't get a bunch of hate. But
Yeah.
I do think that, like even in Mortal Kombat 9, rebooting from Armageddon, we got to see the, I'm going to say amulet for now, but I don't think that's what it's called. But anyway, the amulet gets destroyed, and that's when Raiden is like, oh fuck, I fucked up. And then he resets the timeline to go back into... Alright, so we had to take a little break, but we were talking about the Dark Raiden stuff and that trope and things. But for now, I think that that's okay. We're going to have to go do some things, so... I want to say thank you, Lucrative, for being on the channel. I really appreciate your time, and I really enjoyed that, and I hope that the viewers enjoyed it as well.
Of course, I can't wait to be on here more and more and eventually get started on all my own stuff.
Yes, of course. Lucrative doesn't have his own channel at the moment, but whenever he does, I will link it in the description. And sorry to cut this off abruptly, you know, stuff happens. But we will probably do like a follow-up to this. This was almost like a podcast. We might just have to start our own podcast. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot to talk about. Ed Boon just dropped a tweet saying that Mortal Kombat 1 story mode has to do with origin stuff. That's nuts.
Really exciting.
Yeah, very exciting stuff. So I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, then make sure to like the video. And let me know if you guys want to see other specific Mortal Kombat videos and stuff like that. But with that said, ladies, gentlemen, and NB beauties, make sure you all stay safe, stay hydrated, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.